Alright, what's up there guys? Welcome back to Digger Detecting. Welcome also to home and into the shed. The reason why we're here today is to speak about metal detecting equipment, metal detectors, pinpointers, coils, digging tools, and of course my safety equipment, why it's important to carry what I carry. So look, what we're going to do is we're going to run through every machine. You can see the coin relic machines there, the gold machine, the GPX 6000. We've also got our pinpointers laid out. We've got our coils laid out, our COILTEK coils, aftermarket coils, and of course our stock standard MINELAB coils. We're going to speak about them all, just simply, just quickly, and also touch on the gold coils. Over on the tables at the back here, we've got our digging tools, our shovels and our hand diggers. We've got our scoops and gators and pouches, our pans and our picks, and of course a bit of a safety gear there that we should always carry, and why it's important to carry it with us. So if you're a seasoned metal detectorist or even a brand new beginner looking to start out, this is a great video for you to watch because it's going to cover and share it all. And I'm going to show you just why I carry what I carry, and also the machines, why I love them and what they've done for me in the past. So let's get started and let's show you a look. Alright, so the first thing I really want to cover to begin with, and as I said, I'm going to keep this simple. If you're looking to start metal detecting now and watching this video right now, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what type of metal detecting do you want to do? What do you want to find in that metal detecting that you do? Would you like to find gold, or would you like to find the coins and the relics? Because it's a simple thing. Look, there's a lot of people want to start out metal detecting, and that is the biggest question that I always see basically get asked. You know, what's the right sort of machine for me? And it all comes down to what you want to find, basically. So don't set yourself up for failure to begin with. Basically do your research, learn what you want to find. Is it gold? Is it coin relic? Is it both? And look, basically buy the right machine that's for you, that's going to be for you in future. So I'm just going to take the headphones off here. And the first one we're going to speak about is the MINELAB GPX 6000. Now, this is quite an expensive machine. Look, I'm not going to lie, it's very expensive. It's one of the top of the range MINELAB metal detectors designed for hunting gold. Now, if you are ideally asking the question to yourself, what was I looking for? And you answered that with coins and relics, then I would not recommend this machine for you. The GPX 6000 by MINELAB here, it's ideally designed, as I said, for hunting the gold, that being because of the PI pulse induction technology built in, designed into this machine. So the pulse induction basically is a frequency that helps cut through that mineralized ground out in the gold fields and sniff out even the tiniest bit of gold right up to the biggest bit of gold. So the pulse induction technology, look, it's been around for about 20 years now, quite a while, but it just keeps getting better and better and better. And we all know just how great the GPX 6000 is at finding the gold. Bit of a cover there from Double D, a leather harness, leather and canvas, just to protect it. Very important, especially being such an expensive machine. So you're looking for gold. Look, I don't have any other gold machines here at the moment. The GPX 4500s and the GPX 5000s, like what Andrew runs, are the predecessors of the 6000. They are also a wonderful, wonderful machine. I mean, if you had a 4500 or a 5000 and you were finding gold, there's really no need to upgrade to the 6000 unless you're looking to find the really, really tiny stuff. Maybe the 4500 or the 5000 just might be missing. But you could also pick it up with that same machine just by opting for a different coil. So look, the gold machines we're not going to talk too much about. If you're hunting for gold though, that question once again, you know, what are you looking for, gold or coin relic? Well, you really need to focus on the pulse induction technology of the gold machines, and you need to look at something similar to this, a GPX 6000, one of the old SDCs. Look, GP Extreme, 4500, 5000. There's a lot of options out there, and a lot of cheaper options out there than the 6000. So moving on from the gold machine, we're going to start speaking about the coin relic machines. As I said, I'm going to keep it simple. We're not going to go on too much. We're just going to go through them quickly. And the first one being is the Vanquish 440. Now, this is actually my son's machine, my youngest son, Dominic's, the Vanquish 440. It's a wonderful machine, fully collapsible as you can see, and this is a coin relic hunting machine. And where it differs from the gold hunting machine is all these machines here, metal detectors, are all coin relic focused machines, based machines, and they all run what's called VLF technology. Now that stands for very low frequency. So they run the low frequencies, but also in today's day and age, the new detectors have what's called the multi-IQ frequency. Now the multi-IQ allows it to run in multiple different frequencies at one time. So yes, it's still running a very low frequency, but it is also running that higher frequency when you opt for the multi-IQ mode, basically allowing all frequencies to work together at once and allowing you to pick up on the best stuff in the ground at once and not miss anything. These machines are horribly dirty too. These are our event machines now, because the boys don't really use them as much as what they should. So they go to an event on a yearly basis and we let our members use them. So this one here is the Vanquish 540, and where these two machines differ is a little bit of price difference, and of course the 440 is limited on settings as opposed to the 540. So you can just adjust a little bit more on the 540 and play around with those settings as opposed to what you can on the 440. And if you go down further, you've got the Vanquish 340, same thing, less adjusting of the settings. Now, they both come with the 9-inch and the 12-inch coils. I think that was the 9-inch there. Sorry, the V10. I got that wrong. V10 and the V12 coil. And of course, you see me rip off the screen protectors there, just to keep them nice and protected. This equipment, you know, you pay a lot of money for it. It's good to always protect it and keep it in good condition. Needs a clean up, that one. As I said, they're our event detectors now. Now, the next one I want to speak about is probably one of my most, it's one of my most favourite machines. It's not the favourite anymore, I will say. That's hard to say, because this is the Equinox 800 once again by MINELAB, and this is a truly amazing metal detector. Now, I can't stress that enough. This has done many years of metal detecting, and this has found cricket buckles, snake buckles, it's found a gold sovereign, it's found many rubbish dumps and bottle dumps, you know, rubbish dumps that have led me on to bottle dumps. It doesn't find glass. No metal detector finds glass. But if you find the rubbish dumps, it leads you on to the bottle dumps. So this thing has unearthed I can't tell you how many coins, thousands and thousands and thousands of coins. And look, all those coins that it's unearthed, you know, a lot of them, thousands of coins that it unearthed over the years, they were saved up and spread back out for our group hunt that we hold every year. So that's where the coins come from finding from this machine, the Equinox 800, an absolute fantastic machine. And you've got a lot of options for coils on this machine. It runs the Equinox 11-inch standard coil, and you can also opt for the smaller 6-inch coil, what I like to call the sniper coil, or what I used to call the little baby's hand coil, the little baby's hand. Look, just a ripper little coil, and where the 11-inch coil will be great for covering large surfaces and large areas such as paddocks or sporting fields where you've got permission to maybe do inside or outside, where you've got to cover that large ground and the rubbish is not as thick. The 11-inch coil is perfect, or any bigger coil is perfect. When you're looking to target in on that real trashy ground, and the ground that you maybe have found a lot of targets in over the past years, you know, you go back with this coil here, the Equinox 6-inch coil, and it is just a sniper coil. Anything that you missed with the 11-inch coil, I guarantee you'll find it with the 6-inch coil. And you'll see the reason why I love my small coils. I mean, I've got a lot of small coils on my machines because I love small coils. They really sniff out just everything. They don't miss a thing, the sniper coils. So the Equinox 800, one of my most loved machines. But moving on, we move on to the Xterra Elite. Now, this is a fantastic machine. It's a very cheap, price point starting out machine. You know, if you're looking to get into metal detecting, this is a great option. And what I will say about the Xterra Elite, it has some great settings adjustment. You know, the Equinox 800 and the Equinox 600, they are very different in settings, what you could adjust, similar to the Vanquish 540 and the 440. The Equinox 800 though, you could adjust so much more, hence why we built made the coin shooting program, and we adjusted all our thresholds and tones and volumes and little bins and everything, and we really honed in on the coins with those settings. Now the Equinox 600, unfortunately, you really couldn't do that. The Xterra Elite though here is just a fantastic machine, and it does allow you to adjust quite a lot of settings. I was trying to take the cover off, but I'd have to take the coil lead. So look, a fantastic machine, a great machine, a very, very cheap starting out machine, and I highly recommend this Xterra Elite for anybody out there. Even for an upgrade, it's a fantastic machine. So moving forward, and what has basically replaced the Equinox 800 for me, once again, I'll take the cover off, but well, look, the screens are all basically the same. Here is the MINELAB Equinox 900. Now, they brought out the 700 and the 900 MINELAB, and the 700 and the 900 here, this being the Equinox 900, the 900 basically replaced the 800. So the 800 was so successful, basically the Equinox 900 come out. And look, once again, a super successful machine, and once again, well, even better than the 800. It's been upgraded, as you can see. We've got the carbon fibre shafts standard. The Equinox 800, that's an aftermarket shaft. So just simply though, the carbon fibre shaft standard, the collapsible handle, armrest. We've got a different angle of handle compared to the old 800, and a different adjusting ergonomic feel compared to the 800. So the 900 really feels amazing. Not only that, the Xterra Elite and the Equinox 900 here both have the built-in backlight LED, whereas the Equinox 800 and the Vanquishers don't. So moving forward, the Equinox 900, as I said, it has replaced the 800 for me, and the 800 has done that much work. He goes into retirement now. So reason why he looks so clean and healthy. The MINELAB Manticore is the next machine for me, and paired side by side with the Equinox 900, every day I go out coin relic hunting, it's a really hard decision which one to grab, because I feel that they both really have their strengths, and they're both very similar on par. The only thing I'll say is the MINELAB Manticore, and I'm actually going to turn this one on. The MINELAB Manticore has the 2D mapping screen below, whereas the Equinox 900, unfortunately, it doesn't. So if anything, I'll just turn the sensitivity down there. I'll give you an idea of the two screens though. So as you can see, the MINELAB Manticore has the 2D mapping below, and that there really helps indicate ferrous to non-ferrous targets. So really helping you paint that picture. Is it a rusty nail or is it a coin, with the 2D mapping below here? And you get your target ID layout, you get your depth indicator, just like your Equinox 900 here, same as your Elite, your Equinox 800, and of course your Vanquishers. The screens are very similar, and they're all running in the multi-IQ mode, as you can see, and we haven't touched on that at all yet, but we will. And look, just one thing about the Manticore though, as I said, it's very similar based to the 900 coin relic machine once again, but the 2D mapping is just incredible. So the Manticore also comes with the M9 and the M11 coil, just showing you there. And look, what we're going to speak about just quickly, as I said, is the multi-IQ. Now the multi-IQ, it's different for different machines. They have different frequencies, and through software upgrades after you buy the machine, MINELAB might release a software upgrade and you can upgrade your machine, and some of those upgrades do entail the different frequencies, you know, a lower frequency. I know they did a couple of software upgrades on the 800 and it allowed you to run the smaller, or lower I should say, 5 kilohertz range. So the multi-IQ frequency, the old Detectors VLF, they run one single frequency. So whether it be 4 or 6 or 10 kilohertz, that's the one frequency that they ran all the time, unless you changed it and ran a different frequency on some of the later detectors. These new machines here, they're so smart with the technology now that the multi-IQ allows you to run all of those frequencies at once. So we're just going to turn the 800 on here, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Now this hasn't been on for quite some time, the 800. As I said, it's in retirement mode. Very loud. I'm just going to turn him down a bit there. Sensitivity down. Now, with the multi-IQ, you can see it's in multi right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump through and we're going to change that down. So 5 kilohertz being the lowest frequency that this machine runs. And as I said, VLF, very low frequencies. And this would have been very similar to the old style metal detectors where it ran one single frequency. As you shift forward though, 10 kilohertz, 15, 20, 40, and then back to multi, basically the multi runs all those frequencies that you've seen prior. It runs it all in one. So the multi-IQ frequency technology is just incredible because it allows you to run the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, the 40 kilohertz, and in other detectors, different kilohertz range, all in one. So deep targets in trashy ground where the one frequency may have had trouble hearing them and may have missed them, the multi-IQ frequency allows all the frequencies to hit on everything in the ground. I hope that made sense. I'm trying to keep it simple, but you could go into so much more detail than that too. Now, the next thing we're going to speak about, and just quickly, are pinpointers. Now, we mostly know how these work, but for anybody that's unsure, a pinpointer is basically a handheld, little metal detector basically. So we turn him on, we let him ground balance himself after that third beep. He does 2 beeps on startup, and then the third beep to activate to let you know it's ready. As soon as you put him to the metal, such as a coin or a metal object, a relic, even gold, it will find that target and help you locate that target in the hole. Just one thing too, I'll use those little rubber caps. The rubber caps I've just saved over the years mechanicking. They generally come off engines to cap off lines and power steering lines, what have you. And I've always saved them, and I just put them on the end to protect the tip of the pinpointer just from wearing out, because sometimes going through the dirt or the gravel, depending on the material that you're hunting in, it can wear the tip out. So look, that is the that is the MINELAB ProFind 40. Beside it is the 35 ProFind. All by MINELAB, and look, I know the MINELAB 35 Pros had a few little issues there. They were superseded by the ProFind 40, which is a great unit and probably my favourite pinpointer to use. But I still love the 35 Pros. In actual fact, this one lives in my harness over there, my gold detecting harness, just in case I come across a really loud sounding signal. And instead of trying to find it with the GPX 6000, there's no pinpointing on the GPX 6000, you can simply grab out the pinpointer and locate that rusty nail or the big gold nugget. The one thing I will say too, I mean, the ProFind 35s, they had a few little issues, but this one here is my original one, and it is so well worn down. Let me just compare the pair. It is so well worn down, as you can see, the buttons and even the logo. I actually wore through the button, and it got that good a use over the years, and it never ever faltered. So look, I know a few people out there had issues, the battery housing cracking and the pinpointers not working properly. But even though I wore through the button on this one, and look, all of them work, no worries, this one still itself works, and it's probably about 6 or 7 years old. So look, just great bits of kit. I highly recommend the ProFind 35s. I've had a great run out of them, I really have. And the ProFind 40s, look, I can't falter. This is my first and only one, and I've had it for over a year now, using it every single hunt, and I can't fault it. So anyway, let's move on to the coils. Now, keeping it simple, we're going to talk about the coils quickly. And when you buy a metal detector, of course, it comes with a coil on it. So a lot of these are aftermarket options that you don't necessarily need, but you may find that you want in future. Now, how we spoke about there before about the smaller coils for hunting around that real trashy ground, this is where the bigger coils for hunting those large open areas come in very handy. Now, that is the COILTEK 18-inch Equinox coil, and it fits onto the Equinox 800, 600, 700, and the 900. So, and all of these coils do, I should say, apart from that one there, which is the Manticore coil. So we're just going to run through them quickly though. You've got the 14x9 COILTEK Equinox coil once again, and this is quite a heavy coil, and the reason why it is heavy is because it's a beach coil. So it's designed for hunting in the surf, in the water, and with that weight, it helps keep it down in the water, and you're not forcing it down all day, creating a sore arm. Some of these lighter coils, they tend to float on the surface of the water a lot more. So the 14x9 COILTEK coil is a great option for if you do a lot of beach or surf hunting, something that we don't do a lot of, but we are going to do more of in future. We've also got the 15-inch MINELAB coil here. Now, I've done quite a bit of work with this over the years, and it's a great coil, once again, for covering those large open surfaces. And you can see the difference between the 6-inch coil there and the, I'll grab that one actually. You can see the difference between the 6-inch coil and the 15-inch coil, and just basically the differences being size, obviously, but how they read that ground is basically the secret. So the 15-inch coil, as it covers a large area, a trashy area, it is picking up on all those signals at once, having to feed back all that information at once. When you have a little coil, it only has to cover that smaller surface area. Therefore, it may only pick up 2 to 3 of those items in that trashy ground at once, therefore allowing the machine to feed back that information a lot easier and separate and individualize those targets. It's a lot to explain. Sorry if I'm mincing my words. So we're going to move away from the treasure hunting coils, and these are all treasure hunting coils. They belong on the coin and relic treasure hunting machines. Now we'll turn around these coils. I should have actually had them the other way. And these, of course, are our gold coils. Now, there's a bit of a difference in gold coils. All the COILTEK coils that we've spoke about, they are all mono. Basically, the gold coils, though, you have a difference, and you can opt for the double D. Now, this is important, especially for noisy ground. The majority of coils that you ever want to run are a mono loop coil. When you're having trouble in highly mineralized ground, though, or even ground or areas, that have power lines or houses or roads built up, you want the double D coil. The reason being is because it cuts out a lot of the noise, and it also cuts through a lot of the highly mineralized ground. The mono loops are great and they are better for depth. However, the double Ds are basically the coil that you want to use when you can't use the mono loops. So always opt for a mono, and as you can see, we've got the different sizes there. This one being by COILTEK, it's Gold Hawk 9-inch mono. It's a little sniper coil, once again, like the 6-inch that we talked about with the coin relic machines. The next one we step up is to the 11-inch coil, so that's slightly a bit bigger. The 9-inch, the 11-inch, and they're all monos. And then we step up to the 17-inch, once again, a mono loop coil. And just quickly there, guys, we've spoke on coils there. I'm trying to keep it simple. We spoke about mono and double D, and I could go into so much more detail about the different windings of those coils, but I won't. Remember though, mono coil every day, a double D where you can't use a mono. But also the key factor of coils is, of course, size. Now, size, I should have mentioned there before, plays a huge role in the depth of your targets that you're going to be able to recover. So if you're out in a large open field, it's not very trashy, and you're looking to gain the best depth, maybe it's a field that is always ploughed yearly by the farmer, a key factor is to use a large coil, because a large coil is going to allow you to get the best depth possible and hit on those very, very deep targets. So the 18-inch Equinox COILTEK coil is a great option there. I also do have a 15-inch COILTEK coil, but I've got it on loan at the moment, so I don't have that here to show, but that's also a great option. The 14x9, as we spoke about, is a beach option, but also could be used out in the field to punch deep and get those deep targets. Like I said there before though, I love my small coils. They can help get in those trashy areas, and like most know, where the trash is where the treasure is. So the small coils is really where it's at for me. But remember, you're never going to get as good a depth as what you would running one of the large ones. So my best advice would be run a large coil, something like an 11-inch to begin with, working a sight. Pick up all the easy targets. If it hasn't been done before, you're going to find a lot of coins straight away, running something like an 11-inch medium coil. And then when you work over the house site, or if it be a sports field, you're working a super trashy area, my advice would be to run the small coils and stick with them, because when I first started running a small coil, I did not like it. But I'll tell you what, my mind is completely made up and I'll never change. The small coils are amazing. Stick with it, they're amazing. The 11-inch coil though, run that to begin with. Clean up the site more with the Equinox 6-inch or the COILTEK 10x5, and then once you're done, then you start spreading out further, working away from the site with a large coil such as this, away from the trashy areas, and you pick up on all the deep targets and all the targets that are left behind. So all great coils, great equipment, and this is all equipment that, well, I own for a reason, and what it's done for me is phenomenal. I've, as I said, unearthed bottles, coins and relics, and they don't find glass, but they certainly help find the bottle pits. And look, just an amazing array of stuff. Over the years, thousands of coins and belt buckles and you name it, we've found that there's not much that I have to tick off the bucket list anymore. So enough of detectors, let's talk about the tools. We've got the rake there, a couple of different rake options, especially for when I'm out in the gold fields. I really like to use them. When you're raking areas though, make sure you push them back, because one, you don't want to leave the area as a mess, and two, you don't want to show people where you've been. So the bigger shovel there, just for collecting a bit of pay dirt to put into the high banker and sluice. The high banker and sluice is not something I've busted out today, but we will be doing more of that in future and getting out there on the creeks and using them. River sluices and high bankers, and well, we've got it all. So shovels next. We've got the stainless steel shovels, and look, they can be expensive. Some of these go well up over the $100 range each. However, very impressive. And these are by Tiger stainless steel. You see a little tiger sitting there embossed into the end of the shovel, and Jono does an amazing job from Tiger Stainless Steel. He hand makes all of these, and this shovel here is about 4 or 5 years old, and it's been used, it's been abused. Look, it's stood up to everything that I've thrown at it. I leave rocks and trees and you name it. These Tiger shovels are lifelong tools. I highly recommend them. And you could start out quickly. I'll show the Bunnings shovels for the boys that we started out with years ago. And I cut these down and made them into a little bit of a digger, and they're great to start out with. I mean, I think they cost about 10 bucks each, so a cheaper option, most definitely. However, there is no levering strength on them, and anytime you try and lever them too much, well, they start bending and breaking. They're really only good for digging in winter and maybe soft ground or even at the beach. So the Tiger stainless steel tools here, I really cannot highly recommend them enough. And not only that, they've got the footstep where you can go down, put your foot on the side and really get in and work that ground and dig that hole, and dig a neat hole at that. So Tiger stainless steel, and all the links to this good equipment I'll be throwing up in the description of this video. So make sure you check it out. If you're looking for the link to the Tiger stainless steel equipment, it'll be in the description. So, and same with this, once again, Tiger stainless steel. The little hand digger. Now, once again, I'm not going to bang on about it, but as incredible as the shovels. And 6 or 7 years I think I've had this now, and I've even started to wear down the little teeth in the end, but it's an incredible little digger, and I'm probably certain that I'll have it for another 6 or 7 years digging holes and digging wonderful holes. And once again, it's got the platform for you to put your hand on to really get down into the ground. So you've got the smaller option up the back there, once again by Tiger, and this is a little Tiger shovel digger that I have not used much at all. You can see that by the teeth. It's pretty much brand new, so you can really see just how much I've put the other one through, and he still looks, well, pretty much brand new. Another little tool from Tiger stainless steel, once again, is the little coin popper. Now these are great to work on sports fields, even market sites or parks or areas where you want to be a little bit discreet. Basically the little coin popper here by Tiger stainless steel, you can't go past it. And if you don't want to use something like that, you could opt for a chisel or a screwdriver, something like that, cheaply at Bunnings. So giving you different options there. MINELAB pouches, or the pouches are the next ones. The MINELAB pouch is just, look, great bit of kit there. But what I really love and have used most over the years is, of course, the Detector pouches by Ed and Caitlin. So look, great bits of kit, and look, I've used them that much they've fallen apart. It's my own fault carrying them. The amount of rubbish that I used to carry, cans and bottle tops, what have you, weighing down my pouch, and eventually they kind of let go. But the zips all work fine, the clips all work fine, the pouches have no holes in them, they all work fine. So look, great bits of kit, Detector products once again. All the links to this stuff will be in the description. We've got some scoops here. Now these are mainly used for gold. Different types of scoops though, and even your cheaper options. I think they are about 20 odd bucks or 30 bucks each. Look, this is about a $5 option from Bunnings. So different scoops, dolly pots. You can pick dolly pots up for anywhere from 10 to 20 to $50. This one it didn't have a price. Andrew actually made it for me. So dolly pot for crushing gold. Pretty simple, quick job for Andrew to make. He loves making this sort of stuff. So one thing we missed over the back here, we're going to rip out and speak about. Is the gators. Now these, I've had these for 7 years, and I will say I feel a lot better when I'm wearing them. So they're snake guards and they are snake proof. Now don't be fooled when you're buying snake gaiters, because there's two different types of snake gaiters, or there's many different types of snake gaiters, but you want to look for ones that are snake proof, and they claim that they're snake proof. These are actually Kevlar lined, so Kevlar inside, and they are snake proof. And on the website, I remember when I bought them, they actually have video of a snake biting and the venom just trickling down out the side. Now what you can get caught out by is some of the companies out there, they'll say that they are snake gaiters, but they're only snake resistant. They do not take any responsibility if you do get bitten by a snake and it actually penetrates through. So they're good for grass and good for sticks and what have you. It may stop you getting scratched out in the bush, but don't get snake resistant gaiters if you don't want to get bitten by a snake. Get snake proof gaiters. As I said, don't be fooled. These are snake proof. They're not snake resistant. So make sure you know the difference before you buy them. And funnily enough, I'll just say they're about 130, 140 bucks, the snake proof gaiters. You look at around $100 for the snake resistant ones. So an extra 40 bucks and you got snake proof, not snake resistant. Big difference. So picks are the next one. Look, cheap picks from Bunnings once again. This one was actually a Christmas present from a bloke who I worked with. Chris Kringle present, I should say. Christmas present. So cheap picks again. Look great for the kids. That's what these are here. The boys use these. I certainly don't. This one here used to be my original pick. It's a CC pick, and I bought this 7 years ago when I first started. So it's done very, very well. I've sharpened him up a few times, and in actual fact, this is what dug out the 30-ounce gold nugget. So there you go. I'll never get rid of that pick. I'll hang him on the wall one day. The next pick here is by Stumpy Picks. Let me get my breath. So Dan from Stumpy Picks does an amazing job. You can see there you got the measurements on the handle, and he even put my name in it, Digger Detecting, which we've nearly worn out. But look, an amazing, amazing pick. And this pick now has probably dug well over 2 ounces of gold, and it's done an amazing job. And one pick I don't have here with me is the D7 Dozer pick, or D7 pick I should say, by Tiger Stainless Steel once again. It's actually in the boot of my other car, and my other car's not here, so I can't show it, but it's got the winged edges on it, and I'll throw up picture up top left. It's got the winged edges on it, and the Tiger Stainless Steel D7 pick. Once again, link in the description. It is an amazing pick. So the bigger pick there, and I'm actually not sure what breed or brand this one is, and look, it's just a good option though to have, but mainly what I like to use is that medium size range pick. It's just great to carry, great to use, and great to dig with. So the last thing we're going to speak about just quickly, and one thing I don't have here with me, it's still in the car, is a first aid kit. So the first thing I'm going to speak about, and I don't need to show it, but a first aid kit. Make sure you have a first aid kit with you, or a snake bite kit with you. As I said, mine's tucked away in the car, and well, I forgot to grab it. For the purpose of this video, we'll just mention it about it. So the after the first aid kit is obviously mosquito head net. That's not for the mosquitoes, but for the flies. I always carry one of those with me. I mean, they always get stored in the pouch there, because as we all know in Australia, the mosquitoes are bad, but the flies are worse. So always carry a fly net with me just in case I'm really struggling out there and the flies get crazy. I couldn't imagine what it'd be like in Western Australia. You need two hands though to detect, so it's kind of hard to swat the flies away. Walkie-talkies, very quickly, pretty obvious stuff, just to keep in communication. If not, make sure you have an EPIRB beacon. If not, make sure you tell someone where you're going for the day and a time when you're expected to be home. A hat, MINELAB hat, good safety gear, and gloves. Look, I get asked about gloves sometimes in the videos. You know, why do you wear gloves? Do you have soft hands or sensitive skin? No, I don't. It's literally, there's a lot of stuff in the ground sometimes you don't want to touch, and when you dig thousands of holes every year, look, gloves are a must for me, and I feel naked without them. And not only that, at the end of the day, when you finish digging, you take them off, you've got clean hands, and you can jump in the car and go home, or even eat your lunch and not have dirty hands. So look, gloves are a must, and it's saved me from getting cut and hurt so many times. One thing I'll quickly say, look, not brand bias, just whatever brand it is that you get, keep a battery jump pack in your car. Now, it's not hard these days. Jump packs are so small, so compatible or so portable like this. Keep one in your car. Not only is it good for charging your phone or anything that you need, your walkie-talkies or maybe even your detector, but if you, God forbid, walk back to your car and you've got a flat battery because an interior light was left on, you're not going to get out of the bush, or you're not going to get back from wherever you are detecting at the time. So a quick bit of safety measure kit that I always carry with me, and I've got one of these in every car. I think they're about $100 each. Look, very, very cheap insurance. Make sure I always get myself home. Drink bottle, that's a no-brainer. Hats, no-brainer once again. And of course, a backpack to sometimes carry your gear. Now, I'll just quickly show my harness. We've got the MINELAB Pro Swing 45 harness here. Great bit of kit. The pick holder and the double D leather pouch on the side to carry all my rubbish. The pinpointer holder at the back and a spare battery for the pinpointer. And of course, my little pouch on the back where I hang my drink, put my phone, my banana and my sandwich on a day out detecting. The last thing too for all your gear is of course your carry bags. Make sure you protect your stuff and put it in carry bags. And as you can see, I've only got one for 7 detectors, but we just put in what we need at the time. So really hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm trying not to make it too long-winded, but there's a lot to say about a lot. So I've tried to cover it the best I can. The last thing I'm going to show you, and I'm going to set it up, I'll just show you quickly, and then we'll go off camera and set it up, and we'll come back and I'll turn it on. But the last thing I want to show you is just how far the technology has gone in the last 20, 30 years, actually probably longer, 50 years. This here is about a 1978, 79 from my research. Coinmaster 5000 by White's. Now White's are a big metal detecting company back in the day, American metal detecting company from what I know. I could be wrong, but basically, look, they were the main metal detecting company, or main metal detectors that you're seeing out there on the goldfields, and of course coin relic hunting. And as you'll note on the coil, VLF loop, so very low frequency. And look, it would have been hard, I'm sure, to find the gold back then, being that we're all running around with pulse induction now, and it's so much more stable and better on the mineralized ground, like I explained before. But at the same time, the goldfields and picking up the gold and the coins and relics may have been a little bit easier back then. So let's quickly set him up, let's power him up, and just give you a look to finish off this video. All right, well, I did not show me setting up this old detector. It's a wonderful bit of kit. We just had to jam all the batteries in there though. And unfortunately, the battery housing pack, if you'd like to call it, it has seen better days. And when I first got this detector, it was all cracked and broken. We had to do a bit of soldering and a bit of taping and gluing and just to get it to work. And it does work too. It works amazing for its age. As I said, 1970s thereabouts, 76, 78. This thing would have been made. That's about what I can track down off the internet. So let's put the battery pack in there. You've seen how many batteries it took. This detector, it come from an old gentleman by the name of Harry. And a bit of a funny story, I was actually detecting it, delivering small parcels at that time, and I delivered to Harry's property. Now, Harry, he was a lovely bloke, and we got talking, and he had an old house, and I said to Harry, would you ever let me metal detect your property, mate? You know, come back and do a bit of detecting. And I explained to him about my videos and what I did. And he went away and he watched one of my videos and he actually messaged me. I left my number with him and he messaged me and said, mate, if you'd like to come back and have a detect around, you're most welcome. I've seen your videos and I love what you do. So we went back around there to Harry's, myself and my two sons, Dominic and Zave. And this is a couple of years ago now, a good couple of years ago. And Harry was ripping out the garden at the time. Now, throw the video up top left corner. It was a great day, and Harry said, while I'm ripping out the garden, mate, would you just like to come and have a poke around and see what you can find? Now, we didn't take this around there quite obviously, but when we got around there, Harry turned around and he pulled this out of the shed and said, would you like to have it? And he wasn't going to do anything with it. So I couldn't pass it up. I had to say yes. And as he said, if you don't take it, mate, it's just going to go in the bin, which is such a shame. So let's just tune him up a bit and we'll give you a listen. I've had a little bit of a play around this thing. I'm going to crank the sensitivity up. And one thing I'll say about, that was on battery check, sorry. One thing I'll say about these metal detectors, they're certainly not the first. You know, this is 1970s, they say, but it's certainly not the first. So the first metal detector was actually invented by a fellow by the name of Alexander Graham Bell, and we all know that man because he invented the telephone. But he invented the first metal detector in 1881 to try and dislodge or retrieve and find a bullet from the US president at the time, James Garfield. Now, James Garfield had an assassination attempt. Look at the old book. How cool is this? He'd had an assassination attempt though. And basically the bullet lodged in him. Alexander Graham Bell invented a device, a metal detecting device, to try and find that bullet. And he didn't find the bullet. In actual fact, how he was testing it too was really interesting, because he would go to the US President James Garfield, try and test to try and find the bullet. And of all other tests, his metal detector worked perfectly. But when he go to find the bullet over the US President, James Garfield, he could not find it, and the detector was going haywire. When he went back to the Civil War camps at the time to try and test the metal detector on some of the injured soldiers, Civil War soldiers, it worked flawlessly. Reason being is because they were laid on the dirt or they were laid up on a straw mattress. The US President, James Garfield, he at that time had a metal sprung, coil sprung mattress, one of the first ones beds ever invented, metal sprung, coil sprung bed. So it played against him in his favour, because of course when Alexander Graham Bell would try and find this bullet in the president, he could never find it because of the metal springs in the mattress. So fascinating, the history you learn. And look, later on, the fellow that actually patented the idea of a metal detector, his name was Gerard Fisher, and he patented that idea in he invented it in 1925, painted it a few years later, I'm not quite sure, but by 1931, these were commercially sold. And I'm not saying this detector here, but basically the other detectors, the first ones invented by Gerard Fisher, they were commercially sold by 1931. So fascinating, fascinating stuff. What we're going to do is, I'm just going to sit him there, and I'm going to grab a couple of coins just off the stack here over here, and we're going to wave them in front. Penny, penny, and we're going to show you how it works. All right, we'll go easy on me because I am just trying to work this thing out. We've got our sensitivity cranked up. Discrimination is down. We've got the ground balance. Let's just turn that down a bit. We're not ground balancing anyway. Tuner, if I crank that up too far, he goes really noisy. So we just want it down a little bit where it's not noisy. When we run the metal target or the coin over the coil, it should sound off. So volume's right up. Let's have a go. Works really well too, this, for its age. So no pinpoint though, unfortunately. Just take my sunnies off. You just hear the target and that's it. So we do have a big hunk of metal here too. Imagine that was a big gold nugget. And not too bad a depth. and you could probably tune that out a bit more. Let's have a look at the coin quickly. I'm not going to pick it up very far away because a smaller surface diameter target. So smaller target, harder to find. But still not bad depth. Look at that. Right on it. Love it. So look, old technology, but amazing technology. Let's quickly start up the Equinox and just give you a listen in the difference. All right, so just for kicks, the Equinox 800 is on. We've got him on sensitivity of 12. Let's compare the pair. So same penny what we used for the old machine. And on the Equinox 800, you can see we get a beautiful screen readout, 22 for this target. We get a depth readout, and we get a very, very nice tone, a tone that you could listen to all day. Unfortunately, this is not a tone I could probably put up with all day. But then again, if you're hunting the coins or the relics or the gold and you're finding it through those tones, it's certainly something that you'd get used to. So bit of fun comparing the pair, the old versus the new, and all the rest of the new. And I really hope you enjoyed today's video and even learned something along the way. If you're a beginner detectorist looking to start out, you may have seen stuff here that you need. You may have seen stuff here that you don't. If you're a seasoned detectorist, you may have seen something here that you want to upgrade to that I've touched on and spoke about, or maybe even look at upgrading to something else in future. So I really hope you enjoyed, guys. And if you have, be sure to give me a like, give me a comment, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to follow all our future adventures. Cheers and happy hunting.